We're bad. We suck. We're shit. The Bills are back, and we're bad.
And now the Bills are on the rise again.
It is pandemonium. It is fantastic.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back to another episode of Good Neighbor Sports. As always, I am your host, Austin Hinton, and if you're new here, we unfortunately talk about the Buffalo Bills and how they play football. So if you like that kind of thing, if you're a masochist, if you just like pain, subscribe to the channel, like the video, do that kind of stuff. We're having fun here, it's 2021. Good year, right? Glad it's wrapping up. So as we all know, Buffalo Bills are stinking it up. They're continuing their up-down pattern. Win, loss, high, low. Top of the world, bottom of the barrel. We're just, that's the Buffalo Bills for you. And the variance continues. I still think the stats will show that the Buffalo Bills in 2021 are the most turbulent, most up-down team to ever exist. Just week-to-week basis. Horrible. It's just, at this point, you can expect it. Next week, we're going to ball out against the Buccaneers. But instead of talking about the game, where things went wrong, how we were able to lose to a team that only threw the ball 3 times and actually completed 2 of those tosses, not going to talk about all that. Not going to talk about how the play calling was really bad. And we're not going to talk about how we were wasting timeouts and the Bills are just not doing it anymore. I don't know. I don't want to talk about the game. It was fun to sit through. The wind was annoying, but I stayed warm the whole time. The tailgate was a lot of fun. But yeah, I don't know. Instead of all that, we're going to be looking at the ESPN playoff machine. And if you don't know what this is, I'll get it up on the screen real soon. If you don't know what this is something you can input all your predictions for the upcoming weeks and see where your team stacks up against other teams and what kind of seed they might be expecting to get at the end of the season. So, at the beginning of this season, we were all thinking the Buffalo Bills were almost a lock for the first seed, right? At least almost a lock to win the AFC East for sure, right? Well, the tides have changed, the tables have turned, and this is what we're looking at. Now, I've already gone in from weeks 14, 15, 16, all the way through. Now, this is a little early to do this, so these predictions are just that, predictions. Take them with a grain of salt. But what you can do is you can go in and flip the winner of each team, right? So instead of the Chiefs winning, I got the Raiders winning, got the Chiefs winning. What I did through all these weeks is I made my picks, and I made them as realistic as I could. Like you can see in week 14, the Buffalo Bills are losing to the Buccaneers. All right, I'm factoring that in. Week 15, we're going to beat the Panthers. And you can take a look at all the other picks. You can disagree, agree, whatever, but it's, future predictions. It's not going to be accurate. Essentially what I did is I just input what I think is going to be the realistic outcomes for all of these games, with a little bit of a bias towards the worst case scenario. So right now, realistically, if things go bad in a certain sense, the Buffalo Bills should be expected to sit at the 7th seed. Now, if you go around and you play with this yourself, which I encourage you to do, I'll leave the link in the description below, you'll notice that the Buffalo Bills are always going to be grabbing for that 7th seed if you're going to be putting it in realistically. Now, if you want to do best case scenario stuff, there's still a chance the Buffalo Bills win out and other teams lose and we get the first seed. It's possible, but it's not going to happen. Most likely scenario, New England is going to get that first seed. Their schedule is looking kind of easy going forward. But here's what I want to do. I want to go through and just show you what's going on. So what I have us doing the next 5 weeks, we're going to lose to the Bucs and the Patriots. Okay, we're going to take those 2 losses. That's what I'm predicting. If we win those, that's just icing on the cake. But we're going to win against the Panthers, Falcons, and Jets. We should just expect to at this point. I hope. All right, so let's take a look at week 14 here. We're not going to really worry about the NFC teams because they don't impact us at all. If it's just an NFC matchup, if there's AFC and NFC, of course, we're going to take a look at that. But first case scenario, the Steelers are probably going to beat the Vikings. All right, let's go through. The Ravens are probably going to beat the Browns. Now, the teams that we're really kind of hoping lose going forward, right? It's Denver. It's the Chargers, it's Pittsburgh, it's Cincinnati, and it's Indianapolis. Those teams, they're right on our tail, right? And if you go around and play around with this website, you'll see that, obviously right now the 6th seed is overtaking Buffalo, and it's Cincinnati, and the Chargers as well. This stuff can change, obviously, but let's go through and make some changes. I think I got nothing to change here. If the Bills win against the Buccaneers, obviously that helps a lot, but I don't foresee it happening. Although if we're going to keep this trend going, we're going to beat the Buccaneers 50-0. So we'll see. Week 15 has an interesting matchup right here. Actually, they have like 3 interesting matchups. And what we're hoping for is we want the Patriots to be beating the Colts. If the Colts win, Buffalo Bills are out of the playoff picture as of week 15. If we lose, doesn't matter what happens. We're still not in the playoff picture. So we have to win against the Panthers, but we're rooting for the Patriots here against the Colts. We don't want the Colts to win. Same kind of goes for the Chiefs and the Chargers. If the Chargers win, we're looking at a little bit tougher of a schedule going forward, but obviously with what I've input so far, this doesn't change anything. We want the Chiefs to win. We want the teams that have a sizable lead already against us to keep winning because it's unlikely that we're going to overtake them and make those games any relevant. Same with the Titans and the Steelers. We want the Titans to win because they have a lead over us and the Steelers are nipping at our heels, right? So if the Steelers win, changes some stuff up, but it'll make our job a little bit tougher going forward. So yeah, I just keep going through. Week 16, there's a couple games that matter here. So obviously this one's big. The Cardinals versus the Colts. If the Colts win, Bills are out as of week 16. So that's how things are going here. Now, week 17 and week 18 are very important because the Bills have to win. If they don't win, chances are we're toast, right? Out of the playoff picture if we lose to the Falcons, right? If we lose to the Falcons and actually win against the Patriots, we're still holding that 7th seed. Like I said, it's changing. It's different. We're going to be hovering around that 7th seed a lot. And that's scary because that's the fringe. And we're a fringe team right now. I can't believe it. Regardless, the Buffalo Bills, they do have a chance if things go right. Like, let's pick a absolutely ideal week 14. Okay? The Vikings beat the Steelers. The Browns beat the Ravens. The Raiders beat the Chiefs. The Jaguars beat the Titans. The Lions beat the Broncos. The Giants beat the Chargers. San Francisco beats the Bengals. Buffalo wins. Right? Buffalo's sitting at the 5th seed. That's a great week 14. Week 15, let's pick an absolutely perfect week 15. We don't want the Colts winning. The Chargers should lose. Let's get the Browns a win. So far, it's so good. This is so far a good-looking week 15. We don't want the Steelers winning, but let's see what happens if they do. Doesn't change for the Bills. Broncos. Nothing changes. Green Bay beats the Ravens. If week 14 and week 15 go perfectly for us, the best shot we got is a 5th seed. Looking at week 15. Going into week 16, best case scenario, San Francisco wins. Green Bay wins. Arizona wins. That doesn't matter. The Bengals win. Maybe that does something for us. Who knows? The Texans beat the Chargers. Unlikely, but possible. The Bills beat the Patriots. That would be big, but... Oh, I put tie. Oh, boy, what happens in week 16 if we beat the Patriots and all else goes well? We're sitting in the 1st seed, right? What happens if we lose the subsequent weeks? Boom, down to the 5th seed. But maybe New England loses to the Jaguars. We're in the 2nd seed. So our window is 1st seed, very unlikely. 7th seed, very likely. Miss the playoffs, I'd say we got about a 20% chance to just miss the playoffs. But 7th seed is where we're at. We're not looking at a first-round bye. We're looking at a tough wild card opponent. So yeah, that's all I really wanted to get in front of you guys is that the Buffalo Bills, their season's not over. It's likely that we will make the playoffs, but it's likely that we do so in the 7th seed, and we might need some help going forward. If things go wrong, there's a good chance that we don't even make the playoffs, and we're sitting on our hands waiting for the 2022 season, and no one wants to be doing that. This Buffalo Bills team has been the biggest disappointment, and the reason being is the offense. The offense isn't working. Whatever's happening isn't working, and we're not changing it. I don't know what Brian Dable's doing. I don't know why we weren't throwing the ball when it was actually working with 40-mile-per-hour gusts. That's how good Josh Allen is. He had a very good game. Josh Allen is not to blame. I don't know why there wasn't any more, design quarterback runs. It should have just been like a Lamar Jackson day all game long. Who cares if Josh Allen gets banged up a little bit, right? We paid him to work and paid him for his legs and his size and his abilities. Let's use those abilities. We weren't throwing that much. We weren't targeting Diggs, or Knox had 2 dropped balls. That was not okay. There was some false starts that were unacceptable. It's just we're shooting ourselves in the foot. Classic Buffalo Bills football. And man, at the beginning of the season I was thinking, we don't want to be hot right now. We want to get hot later. And we're just lukewarm. We're not even that. We're cold. And it's just not fun. The Bills are just dropping the ball left and right, and they only have a few more chances to right their wrongs, to steer the ship back on target, and it starts next week against the Buccaneers. If we can win against the Buccaneers, that's huge. That's a big-time bump. I'm factoring in that we will not lose, and we're still fighting for that playoff spot in the 7th seed. If we don't beat the Bucs, it's not the end of the world, but it makes our job a whole lot harder for sure, and we're going to need a lot of outside help. Like, the people biting on our heels need to lose, and the people ahead of us need to lose as well. It's rough. It's like that drought ending year, right? We're going to need some help getting into the playoffs. Not as much help. It won't take a miracle, like the Andy Dalton to Tyler Boyd to beat the Ravens to kick them out of the playoffs to scoot us in. Probably won't be that way, but it could come down to it. You never know. We're playing Week 18 against the Jets. I am making that a shoe-in win. If we lose against the Jets, it's toast. We're done. We have to beat the Jets, the Falcons, and the Panthers. If we beat the Patriots, that's a big bonus. That's the biggest bonus. If we beat the Buccaneers, that's a big bonus too. But I don't see it happening. I'm trying to be realistic here. I'm trying to put forth the most probable expectations, the most probable outcomes for this season, and most likely the Buffalo Bills will make the playoffs, but it won't be pretty, and we'll be having a tough opponent in the wild card round. Here's another thing about this Buffalo Bills team, right? It does not take good quarterback play to beat them. Trevor Lawrence had a horrible day when he played us and they beat us. Mac Jones didn't even work. I don't know if he'll even get a game check because he threw the ball 3 times, completed it twice. That's a good way to get a passer rating over 100 and 66% completion for, I think, like 19 yards. They didn't need Mac Jones. They could have put Belichick back there and he could just hand it off just as efficiently. It was a ridiculous game to lose. I can't believe it happened. This is the worst timeline. Man, this is ridiculous. But yeah, if you want to, go on to that ESPN playoff machine, fiddle around with it yourself, see what happens. And hey, there is a small chance the Buffalo Bills take that 1st seed, but if that happens, I don't know. The rest of the league is toast. I don't know. The Buffalo Bills are shooting themselves in the foot and making themselves walk uphill. I'm frustrated. Let me just, these videos would be a whole lot easier to make if the Bills were winning, and they should be winning. There were so many opportunities the Bills had to win that game, right? There's so many. It's hard to watch. I just left the stadium feeling defeated. I woke up the next day, much to my demise. Man, it's just been a rough few days. But the Buffalo Bills have a chance to make it in the playoffs, and hey, if the Bills can get to the dance, that's where it matters. This time in the season last year, the Buccaneers were 7-5, just like us. They got hot at the right time. That's what we're going to need. We're going to need to get hot at the right time and just start crushing people. One good thing is we were pretty healthy coming out of that game. Nothing really. Maybe Matt Milano went down, and for whatever reason that cost us the timeout, even though the broadcast didn't even show anything. It's just frustration across the board. I'm done ranting. This has been another episode of Good Neighbors Sports. As always, be good to your neighbors. And go Bills.